Off we go. Click, 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 click. Okay, here we are with a T-150 apparently. This is 7.3 of World of Tanks, and there are, basically it's just Russian tank changes. We have the KV split into 1 and 2, both of them tier 5. We have the T-150 and tier 6. KV3 is bumped up to 7, parallel with the IS. KV4 is completely new, ST1 is completely new, and the IS8 replaces the IS4. As far as I'm aware, those are the only changes for the Russian tree, and there are two premium tanks that have been released, which are the French, whatever this thing is, FCM blargly blargly blargly, and the 105mm ibis, this thing, both of which are hilariously silly looking. Look at this. Look at it. Who designs something such as this? Like, I don't even understand. I don't actually personally like this thing. So I'm probably not going to showcase it. It's got the gun of a martyr, so this gun right here is basically the gun of a martyr, same general kind of thing. But it's got the worst engine ever possible, 91 horsepower, and it's like horribly slow if you try to do anything with it. So I don't really like that thing. They're both cheap. I think this one's 750 and this is 850 gold or something around there. I have them bought, so I can't really check unless I sell them, which I very well may. This is it's Abyss with a really big gun. It's exactly identical to the Panzer B2, basically. It's a little bit slower and has a really large gun on it. It's actually a pretty good artillery. It's got a really high rate of fire and a decent damage, so it's a decent artillery, tier 4. It's really slow though. It has a kind of limited gun traverse. I guess I'll show that later, but for now, show off the new tanks. Here's the KV-1. Show not the tech tree, the research tree for it, which is this leads to 3 different tanks now, not the S51 anymore though. It has everything the same except the 107 and 152 are gone, and in its place is an 85mm gun. Not actually a terribly bad gun for a tier 5. So it's manageable. KV2 here actually looks kind of cool. It's got the actual turret from the KV2. It's kind of, it looks cooler in my opinion, but slightly more effective due to the sloping on it and the sloping on the back, but it starts with a 122 and has the 107 and 122. It has both of those guns. Those are the only options it has. It also leads to the T-150 if you want to go down that path. You can get artillery and whatnot. Someone asked what the arc on the French SPG is. I should have pointed that out. It can shoot nearly straight up for all intents and purposes. The gun goes about like this. So, I actually, what is it, swamp, I think is what it was? I sat literally right behind a little, like, mountainous area, literally right up on top of it and shot over it to kill things. Fantastic arc on that thing. I'll show it first, I guess. Back to this, T-150 is basically a KV with more armor. It's kind of a KV3 with less armor. It's a little bit shorter, basically the same shape and size as the KV-1 and 2, but it has a few different guns. There's the 85 from the KV-1, I believe. Yes, almost, close enough. And it gets the 107. Tier 6, 107, it's alright. It's probably the best gun in that tier still, but whatever. KV-3 bumped up a tier, gets some more hit points, keeps the armor that it had. I believe it gets a new engine, because I don't have this researched, so I'm going to go ahead and assume it gets a new engine. And it keeps the 100 and 122 that it had, and the 107, and gets the 122 that the IS originally was the only one to get. So it gets the D25T, which is just faster rate of fire, and the KV4, which I actually believe is a fantastic tank. There's the giant gun it has on it. Gets the 122, starts with a 107, which is a decent stock gun. I mean, it's tier 8, so Gets the 122s and gets this 107, which is a fantastic gun. 227 pin, 320 damage, and some pretty hefty rate of fire on that. So that's a pretty cool gun. It's a crazy slow tank though. Has essentially equivalent armor of the KV-5, except it doesn't have R2-D2 on it, as you can see in the garage here. Pretty effective armor, in my opinion, especially this front slope here basically bounces everything. The rest of the tank is kind of squishy, so don't let things shoot you in the back or something like that. The sides of the turret are manageable. It's kind of a flat surface, so if something shoots you there, you're kind of screwed anyway. The IS-8 is a fantastic tank as well. It just looks cool, to be honest. It's got, like, I don't know why it's got these pieces of metal here, but I'm not sure what's going on there. It's got the new 122mm gun. I'm not sure why it doesn't have a 130, considering the IS-7 still does, but this is it. This 122 gun is kind of overpowered in my opinion, but you know, whatever, and I just like jerked my head really rapidly for no apparent reason. 440 damage, 270 pin, decent rate of fire. It's basically it's got 10 more pin than the S70 130mm, for 50 less damage, a bit better rate of fire. So it's a really good gun. The tank itself's pretty maneuverable. I didn't mean to click on that, I meant to click on the X. It's a bit slower than the IS-7, but it's still pretty maneuverable. It's got that same high top speed that it can't really get to. There it is, 50 kilometers an hour. That it can't really get to on its own. But the gun is amazing. And the IS-4 here, the Tier 10 IS-4, gets the same gun. The armor on this thing is exactly the same as it was for when it was Tier 9. So it's kind of lacking in my opinion. The whole armor is pretty easily pinnable by basically everything it fights, and it's supposed to be like a Russian mouse or something. But the gun makes up for it. The gun is amazing. Look at that. 5 rate of fire, .38 accuracy. It's amazing. Let me actually just compare that to the S7 here for you. It's a better gun than the S70 in my opinion. A little bit more pin, a little bit less damage, more rate of fire, better accuracy, better aiming time. I mean, you're only losing 40 damage for more accuracy and a little bit more penetration, so... let's see. Other than that, there's one tank that I'm not going to be able to show. Well, I could show it to you, but I don't have any interest in showing it to you. And it's the ST1 here, which is, it's basically an IS-4 with a retarded-looking turret on it. The hull is basically the same shape, the same armoring and armoring layout and whatnot. It has this retarded-looking giant alien head of a turret on it there. It seems like a disappointing tank to me. It has the same 122 that the other two tanks have, so it's got a good gun. It's apparently a relatively maneuverable tank compared to the IS-4, but or the KV-4. It's way more maneuverable than that, but it's still slower than this IS-3 to 7 line over here. Other than that, I think we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. There's no real changes to any of the other tanks. It's really just Russian tanks right now, so I'm not going to play that tank because it sucks. I'm going to go ahead and showcase this thing. I recommend not buying this tank, by the way. It's really not worth it. It's hideous looking for one. I mean, if you get stuff on aesthetics like I do, that's not a tank that looks very good. And it doesn't perform very well. It's got a good gun, but it can't get to where you can shoot things. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this battle with the 105mm B2. I believe it's a B2. It could be a B1. They're basically the same tank, but it's got these fancy chains on the back, which is amazing. It's amazing. Other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and, like I normally would, just run through matches here and blabber on about nonsensical nonsense. Like I like to do. There's also, I don't know if they added this in this patch or 7.2, I didn't really pay attention, but there's a Tanker's Voice by Nation that I have checked, and I'm not sure if it's going to have them... No. I was about to say, I'm not sure if it's going to have them talk in their native language, and you can see how high the gun can go up there. It shoots nearly vertical, basically, for all intents and purposes. It's got good range as far as I'm aware. Yeah, there's the max range there. It's actually about 900,000 meter range or somewhere around there. 800, 900, I can't remember exactly, but it's got good range. It's pretty slow though, especially if you drive backwards. It's not terribly fast. It's got good gun traverse on it for an artillery. It's no GW Panther, but it's good enough, and it's got decent damage. The accuracy is a little bit lacking, and I'm not very good at artillery, but it's not too shabby. I'm waiting for him to run into something like that, and then I'm gonna miss. Like that. I'm not very good at artillery, so it's not a very good showcase, and he's gonna die anyway. Remember, there still is counter battery, so actually moving after you shoot is a good idea. He's got 1% left. Can I hit him? I hit him, I didn't kill him though. That's kind of disappointing. Oh well. If you're looking at a premium purchase for an artillery piece, or you like artillery and you want a premium tank, this is the only one there is right now, so you don't really have much of an option, but it is a decent choice. In my opinion, it's actually better than the grill, mainly because of the rate of fire change, or differences, I should say, not change. What are these guys doing? Look at them all stacked up for me. If I miss this, that's going to be hilarious. There we go. Zod we go! Yeah, and the aim time, I forgot to mention the aim time. I'm going to up the volume here a little bit. Probably, there we go. Whatever, we'll do that. The aim time I didn't mention is actually really good for this caliber of gun that Pershing's got it handled. The overall accuracy is not too shabby, and the rate of fire is really good. Like, if I don't move the cursor, and I actually managed to hit someone there, which is pretty sweet, I'll be aimed in basically the exact same time that I finish reloading. It's pretty amazing. Of course, me missing horrendously every single time I fire at something doesn't help tremendously, but whatever. Can I get a Panther? The last time I played artillery was like freaking forever and a decade ago, so IS-8 is probably going to be the next tank I run, and it's an amazing tank in my opinion. It's a great replacement for the IS-4. It's actually better than the IS-4, in my opinion. And the IS-4's tier 10. They have the same gun, the IS-4 shoots a bit faster, but I just like the maneuverability that the, well, they kill each other, good job. That the IS-8 has. Oh, come on. I just keep hitting near stuff. I'm pretty sure that AMX-12 can spot me from over there. 430, he may be able to. The one thing about this that I can't show on this map because of how it's laid out is the fact that you can sit like directly behind, say, this rock here, and pretty easily just lob shells over the top of it. The one thing I did wish it had is a slightly faster traverse speed. And a slightly higher splash radius. The splash radius on this thing is virtually non-existent, and that was a bad shot. I knew that the instant I clicked. I'm mainly just waiting for that AMX-12 to light me so someone will kill me and I can move on to the actual bulk of this patch, which is some of the Russian tanks. I'm not going to play all of them, mainly because there's not really a whole lot of change with some of them, like the KV-3 or the KV-1 and 2. Am I not going to get to shoot anything? Should I just start blind firing at stuff? I can't reach that far. Oop. One of these guys is going to spot me. The one problem this does have is reverse slopes. It's not really good at hitting. And that shell just came out of where my tank was not sitting. Here we go. I can die now. Maybe I can actually hit him. Nope, he's on a reverse slope. All artillery kind of have that problem, but this one is specifically, for some reason, just can't hit reverse slopes worth of crap. And I can't hit him at all. We're going to shoot anyway. Yeah. The good thing about this is you can take risky shots like that because of the huge rate of fire advantage this thing has. I'm surprised he hasn't spotted me yet. Or maybe he's just toying with me now. They toying with me? Yeah, he spotted me. Waiting for death. Totally just got shot by a KV-5. Let me just shrug that off by getting my track shot there. It's cool. Yeah, you know what? Let's just turn this way. Don't even care. This is an obvious loss. Let's see if I can hit a KV5. Before he kills me. Hey! 3% off. Look at me being useful. The other downside of this that you're gonna notice in high tier matches is the radio on it kind of sucks. That's the huge downfall of that tank. As far as I'm aware, the radio on that is pretty terrible. I think it's 600 meters or something, which doesn't sound too bad. 415, that's actually way worse than I thought. Which is, it's like half of your firing range you can't see, which is terrible. Anyway, let's hop into the IS-8, which is the Tier 9 replacement of the IS-4. You can see what everyone and their mother on this test server is playing, which is Russian tanks. Excuse me. Luckily... oh, never mind. Oh look, it's the new map. There are also, I forgot to mention this as well, there are 2 new maps, this being one of them. This is South Coast, which is kind of like a resort area thing, I guess, is what you could call it. The other one is... I can't remember the name. It's a Asian-styled map, Chinese-styled map, Japanese-styled map, some kind of Asian-styled map. And it's actually pretty cool. It's got a central kind of town, dense town with all destructible buildings and stuff like that. This one's a little weird to get used to because there's so many different ways you could possibly go. In fact, I'm still not certain which way you should go on this map. I've only played it 3 or 4 times so far. But here you can see the IS-8 plays basically identically to the IS-7. It has 30 millimeters less front armor, and the turret isn't quite as effective, but it's still sloped pretty heavily, so you can see this is the T10M turret or something like that. I don't know. The stock turret is the T10 turret, which is what the IS-3 used to have. So, if you remember what that was, there's still no physics, sadly. You still get stuck on things incessantly, and that is a very good tank destroyer spot over there, and they have one as well. Let me just blow his track off for no apparent reason. The amount of damage this gun does is pretty amazing. And you can pretty effectively ignore things with like 40% of that guy's health right there. You can pretty much ignore things with below 200 pin because of the sloping on your armor. He can't even hit me. I feel sorry for this guy. I'm just sitting here shooting him. The cool thing about this map is just how open it is. He's might get a free shot on me here. It's a huge map, as far as I can tell. It seems like one of the bigger maps. That is an IS-4. That is an IS-7. 2 tanks which I wish had not driven around the corner right there. I didn't realize my team was being so defensive. ST1 is also a problem. Don't hurt me, he hurt me. I'm gonna die here, so let's see if I can get a shot off on this guy. ST1's turrets are really hard to kill, or damage. And can I dodge it like a pro? I'm not sure what my team's doing, but this is going to go poorly here. Oh. I wasn't expecting the entirety of the team to sit on that little tank destroyer. There's no way to get off of this hill without going backwards. You can't just like drive forward and get off of it. You can go that way, or you can go around back there where that IS is. So I'm not sure what these people are doing here, but whatever. But it is an awesome tank. I'll probably play one more game with that one. It's probably my favorite of the new tanks that are out. And the KV-4, actually. I really like the KV-4. So let's do the KV-4. Remember, there's actually, before we jump in here, let's just throw a rammer on there. There's no equipment on this one. The IS-8 is fully loaded. This one just has the rammer and some crappy crew, because I just bought it earlier. So remember, it's not the best it can be doing. Just kind of remember that. And there's probably going to be changes. This is test version 1 of 7.3, so there could be tweaks to things like the IS-4's armor or whatever. Right now, the IS-4 is kind of dinky. Has a really good gun, that's about all it has going for it. This kind of match, the KV-4's armor doesn't particularly matter. This thing can bounce up to 200 millimeters of penetration somewhat consistently. 225 and up is just kind of, you know, don't even worry about angling yourself. They're probably just going to go through it. The turret and the hull have the same armor, but the turret has this really cool full turret mantlet kind of thing going on there. The entire front of the turret is a spaced armor mantlet. If I can get it angled, you can see it right there. So it's really, really hard to get through the mantlet on this thing, but then it has this giant machine gun turret on the top. It's actually not a machine gun. I think that's a 20 millimeter, 27 millimeter cannon or something on the top of that, which is pretty cool. When they implement multiple gun control, this thing might be able to actually control that, because it's not just a machine gun. It'll be basically useless. But this 7.3 could theoretically still be released in April, but I seriously doubt it. Probably first week or two of derp May. I couldn't remember what came after April for a bit there. Yeepity-pity. The KV-4 you can play basically identically to the KV-5, which is to say, basically just hold W until you find something to shoot at, and then proceed to shoot at it. It's got a gun that's capable of penetrating basically everything it fights frontally. That E75 is going to be an issue, but everything else it can handle in here. If they do let us shoot this gun, it's going to have some like crazy rate of fire, probably like 30 rounds a minute or something like that. Maybe less actually, because it's probably run by the same loader. So, and that IS-8 just got himself rolled on. You do have to be careful when you're shooting IS-8s, because they do have that crazy Russian frontal sloped armor that they like to use. Where did he hit me? Yeah, he hit me on that machine gun thing. I hate that machine gun thing. Machine gun tumor. But you can see the gun on this thing. 2 shots down to 50%. It's a pretty darn good gun. I wish these IS-8s would help me. That would be tremendous. There's the E75. Do not want, actually, so I'm going to back up. Can't really handle E75s with this thing, but you can pretty easily pin everything else. There's other shot through there. IS-8's gun that it has, they're not going to bounce it on this, so don't even worry where he shoots you. These two people, however, would be handy if they shot something. I don't think I'll run the IS-7. I like how they're like, this dude keeps just like sitting behind me there. I'm not going to run the IS-7 because as far as I'm aware there's no changes to that tank. But I will run the IS-4 and then I'll probably run the IS-8 again. I'm not sure how many of these matches I'm going to do for this. Maybe I'll do like an extended bajillion hour 7.3 test server session. And there is that crazy Russian sloped armor nonsense they have. It has the same sloping as the IS-7. There's a Hummel. There's an IS-8 behind us. And it's really hard to pin the turret, but you can pin it basically the same way you can pin everyone else's turret. You can hit the commander's hatch on them, which is harder to see because it's freaking tiny, but like right there you see I hit his commander's hatch with that. Same weakness as everything else. These two IS-8s are not terribly useful. He's gonna kill me. Oh look, I bounced it. Sweet Jesus. 5 hit points and I bounced it and then hit the microphone. Right. Can I bounce it again? Bounce it again, bounce it again. Don't kill me. Oh my god, the S-51 saved me. He's gonna kill me. Yep. Right before I got a shot off. That's a really fun tank. I really do like how that tank plays and how it handles itself. Even, there were 3 tier 9s there, and I still held out pretty well, did some good damage. It's a good tank with a good gun. All the new Russian tanks are pretty good. T-150 is meh. It's a KV-3 that's not nearly as good, so it's just kind of standard tier 6 affair now. Unicorn already for the win. KV-1 is a kind of meh T5 now. It's kind of equivalent to every other tier 5 now. KV2 is the same thing it's always been, except it looks kind of ridiculous now. Let's see, KV3 I'm not going to do. It's basically identical to what it was before. It just has a bigger gun now. And we'll just hop back in the IS-8. Why not? Give it a second chance, and then we'll run the IS-4 after this one, since everyone else and their mother appears to be running IS-4s. But those two, the IS-8 and the KV-4, are probably the best ones in this patch, and I already have the IS-8 technically on the live server because I have the IS-4. So I'll actually have 2 tier 10s now, which is marvelous. And I'll be actually trying to get the KV-4, or yeah, the KV-4, because I'm actually interested in that. It's a fun looking tank, and on the live server there won't be, you know, gold rounds flying around or anything like that, or 800 tier 10s in the queue. One thing I should point out is this gun on this thing here, this 122, has 400 millimeters of penetration with gold rounds, which is redonkulous. And this is the Asian themed map, by the way, the new Asian map. It's a pretty good map, very mountainous, lots of dips and curves and stuff. Everyone starts in like a column formation, which I actually thought was a nice touch. You can see everyone starts on these 2 roads in column formation, and those 2 people. A bunch of people over there not doing anything. And yeah, the KV3 gets a new engine, pointed that out at the beginning there, but... excuse me, stock T150, don't mind me. The one thing that the IS-8, well, basically all the IS tanks have, is their engines are kind of underpowered for their maximum speed, so they're not going to reach the speed really at all unless they're going down some sort of hill, and they're going to have some serious issues on going up hills a little bit. IS-8's a bit better than the IS-7 in that regard. IS-3's still the same, basically. And this is what happens on this map. Everyone goes up their little hills, and they all meet in this town. It's marvelous. And you can cut down through here. There's a little dip. And cut across to the center of the village here and get a better vantage point. Otherwise, you'll get stacked up right there and just get stuck shooting at each other. Which it appears they're going to do. Me and this IS-4 are going to advance. Every building in here, I think, is destructible. Yeah. Every building in this town is destructible. It's a pretty nice touch. They also got some new trees for this. You can't run those trees over, sadly, but... Yeepity. I should probably explain that as well. If you have the IS-4 currently and it is fully upgraded, you will get the IS-8 fully upgraded. I can't see. There's a wall right there. If you have the... Oh, I lit him on fire. Oh, someone lit him on fire. IS-4 lit him on fire, apparently. If you have the... What else is new? If you have the KV-2 turret on your current KV, you will get the KV-1 and the KV-2 as I showed them in the tech tree. So you'll have everything but the 85mm or whatever. That's a new gun, so there's no way you could possibly have that. As far as I know, it's a new gun. I could be mistaken there, but... Pop. The one thing you want to be careful when playing peekaboo with these things, and actually, see if I can blow these up too, is, nope, those aren't destructible, is your turret will get caught on the roof like that, so you'll be, like, pointing backwards if you try and go out here in third person. Like, if I do that, you can see the turret start turning around, so you want to be going in first person prior to driving out, like that. You can see it turn around when I back up there every single time. I'm going to cut this way. And by cut this way, I mean run over that house. Because destructible buildings are marvelous. Nice. I didn't know you could shoot through there. That's actually pretty cool. I'll have to remember that you can run that piece of wall over and shoot through that. Because that would make it extremely hard for people to hit you. And he exploded, never mind. Missed. Curses. The aiming at the sky thing is because there's, for instance, you can do it on the corner of buildings as well. It's just your cursor's on the building and the building's above where your gun is, so the gun's like, what do I do? This IS-3 is getting himself killed, and I can't aim down far enough to do that. There we go. Let me just ram him for good measure. Oh, darn. I'm going to cut back this way, because it appears they're making an actual push here, and I'm a decently maneuverable tank. Also, as far as I'm aware, those pieces of metal there on the armor don't actually do anything. I don't think that's part of the hitbox or spaced armor or anything. I could be mistaken, but I've just never seen anything hit them. The Type 59 has the same armoring dealio, whatchamacallit thing, layout on it for whatever reason. And here you can see the maneuverability of this lovely tank, this lovely gun. It's got a double muzzle brake, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's a fantastic thing. The thing I like about this map is there's so many different ways to go, and this might not be the most optimal route. But I can hit this guy, because he's not paying attention. There's so many ways you can get around things, and they all kind of lead to a central area that kind of forces people into a direct fight. I like the layout. It gets people fighting. I probably shouldn't have driven forward there. Another thing with this is it's hard to stop it. There's a lot of mass going behind it, but there you go. Good tank. Really like it. IS-4, we're going to run it next, has the same gun, slightly higher rate of fire, I think that's the only difference, slightly higher rate of fire, yeah. Spall liner, tank rammer, you know what, let's get some ventilation. There we go, let's deck that thing out. This thing, it doesn't have Brother in Arms, it's almost got it, so that's not going to stack in, but fully decked out IS-4, let's see how we do. This tank does pretty well. Don't rely on the armor though, because I mean, everything at this point has 250 plus penetration, so you're really not going to bounce anything off anything but the turret. The turret has amazing armor. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's 250mm front armor, and it's like crazy awesome sloping going on it there. It's no IS-7 turret, but it's still pretty darn hard to penetrate. The IS-8, the IS-3, and the IS-7 all play basically identically, the IS-7 just being the slower of them all with the most armor. The thing with the IS-8 and the IS-3 is they have essentially essentially identical armor. The IS-8 has a 120, and the IS-3 has 110, I believe. I think the IS-8 has slightly better sloping though, so... T-110 is still a ridiculously good tank, don't worry, there's been, as far as I'm aware, no changes to that. There were a few model changes and fix to the M103's armor display, so it should be displayed properly, but one thing I noticed about the IS-4 is it appears to be a bit faster, or a bit more maneuverable. I haven't played the IS-4 in so long that I can't really remember it very well, but it appears to be a bit faster and a bit more maneuverable to me, so I don't know. That KV-3 is about to get himself shot in the face. And an M6. I'll just shoot the M6. There we go. This gun, again, in my opinion, is way better than the S70. It's just the rate of fire, the damage output, the penetration, everything's good. It's really hard to bounce this thing if you just aim in the general direction of the enemy. If you know how to point your cursor at tanks, you should be able to hit things and do damage to them. It does have the same general problem of hitting tracks a lot, but you know, that I don't want to play peekaboo with. Do not play peekaboo with tanks that have very large guns. You can kind of sneaky risk it when he's moving, or this T-110 can drive out there for me and take the shot. Looks like he actually hit the IS-8. I'm just going to keep picking on that IS-3 because he'll be easier to kill. If you use gold ammo, this is a fantastic tank to have. And I hit that guy's track. Same problem as every other gun in the game where you hit people's tracks at weird angles and you do nothing. This thing's penetration is just obscene. He's right up on the corner, so I can't peekaboo anymore. Dull. I'm disappointed. I'm not sure what that T-110 thought he was doing, but whatever. One thing you can do with the IS-4 still is do this. Point the armor that's going to be closest to the enemy basically at the wall like this, and they'll shoot the side armor at some crazy obscene angle. And you can occasionally bounce stuff, and there's actually someone behind them. Because of the huge angle that they often end up shooting at. Or he'll just shoot the wall, that works too. Sure, that helped him tremendously, and I'm gonna cut to the middle. Because I am a good team player and we're losing the middle. Surprisingly, the test server, at least this time around, appears to have at least semi-competent teams. I mean, people are trying, they're doing interesting things, like mid-rush here, but that just makes it kind of more fun. But they are at least trying. And that ST1 I'm worried about. KV3s you don't have to worry about still. IS4s you have to worry about, because that's a tier 10. But I mean, anything with the affair of the standard 200 below pen, you don't really have to worry about. I think they've changed the driver's hatch armor. It could still be the 200 millimeters that it was changed to a bit ago, but I'm not really certain on that. Hi, KV3. Bye, KV3. Not sure what that IS4 is doing. We got this match in the bag. Apparently, T110 rushed around there. Whatever. The thing on the test server is people often just go for kills, because, I mean, the amount you get from these matches is just obscene. So you may as well just kind of rush out there and get as much damage as you can, kind of like that KV3 did. He knows he can't really kill me, or even hurt me, so he just kind of drove out there and got shot. It's a test server, he's not missing anything, he's going to hop into another Russian tank to try it out or something silly. Hi, T-54. He's gonna ram me. Oh, he's gonna track me. Oh, that was a waste of repair kit. Oh well. I was gonna see if I could turn around and get the last shot on him. Alas, I could not. IS-4 is a good tank. I didn't actually get to showcase the armor, but the armor is lacking for a tier 10. It has a metric boatload of hit points. It's got 2,400 hit points. What is that? 300, no, 250 more than the IS-7, so it's got a boatload of hit points. I think it's got 400 less than a mouse. Yeah, 400 less than a mouse, and the same amount as the E100. I guess it's kind of like the E100 of the Russian line. Not terribly effective armor, got a decent gun on it, you know, good gold round penetration, stuff like that. Let's see. I believe I've covered everything. Let's go to some Q&A. Do we have any questions in the chat? Any questions in the chat? Yes, there is a chat, for those of you who are on the end of this that does not have a chat. Let me actually, I think I've already explained how everything changes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. If you have the IS-7 researched, you keep it researched. If you have it bought, you keep it bought, etc., etc. You get an IS-8 to replace the IS-4. You get a T150 to replace the KV3, and you get a KV2 with the KV1. The KV1, I believe, keeps the crew. Let me check. Yes, the KV1 keeps the crew, the KV2 gets the new crew. KV3 keeps your old crew, T150 gets the new crew. IS-4 keeps your old crew, and the IS-8 gets the new crew, etc., etc. Yes, this is the new crew. I've played like 3 battles in this thing. Let me check now. Curious. I like the test server. It's fun like that. How many battles have I played in this thing? There's the KV4, IS-4. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know where it is. Oh, they've replaced it. That's right. It's going to be at the top. There it is. You keep your IS-4 stats, migrate to the IS-8. Same thing with the T-34 and all that stuff. I can, in fact, show the French tank destroyer. I despise it. I might do another round with the French SPG and then probably end it there, and I'll have to render that out and post this video up. Probably tomorrow this video should be up, I'm not sure. This, again, like I mentioned, this is essentially a Martyr 2, except it's like a dead turtle that's flipped on its back. That's about the maneuverability of this thing. And it's got this, it's so retarded looking. Like, I don't understand what they were smoking when they designed this thing. I don't understand. It's also got like these vents here. Notice that there's like some ventilation here or something, but then you look on the inside, and it's not there. I'm pretty sure you can see that bit on the inside. I think that's that piece right there, but it's not there, so I don't know what's up with that. What if? It might actually be underneath this thing, I'm not really sure. I just wanted to point that out. It's a silly looking tank.
Time to roll out.
To be honest, yeah, it's kind of expected. Here's the acceleration of it. It's got good accuracy, good fire rate, good aim time. It's actually got really good aim time. It aims in, you can see, when I move it, you can see how quickly it aims in like that. Even on the move, this thing's got some pretty good accuracy, but I mean, on the move, we've got this. I mean, it's not really terribly. It's like AMX 40 kind of maneuverability, is what this is, essentially. Here we are. We're all just kind of cruising along. You guys wanted to see the tank, so here's the tank. All of its glory. All of its extremely slow glory. This is with 80% crew or something. I'm going to have to ask this kind soul to turn. If he's going to be polite enough for me, actually. Oh, there he goes. There's a freaking rock in the way. I was going to say I might cut that way, but I don't know. Oh, he's going to turn that way, apparently. I've almost made it up the hill. I've almost made it up the hill. And there's T-46. 1%. Glad I turned to do that. The engine on this, like I mentioned, is, what is it, 79 horsepower or something? That's like a small electric-powered car. It's probably less than that, actually. How much does a Mini Cooper have? 150 horsepower or something? It's got very little engine power. Just want to point that out. I'm actually curious what the engine power of like the Law tractor is, or the Lycan tractor. It does have good traverse, surprisingly good traverse given how terribly slow it is. And the gun kind of makes up for its inability to get anywhere. Once you get somewhere to shoot at something, it does really well. There's no way I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna shoot anyway, because why not? Time for me to reposition in this direction. Actually, nope, there's a guy over here. Time for me to reposition in this direction. If I can manage to make it over here before these people die of old age. I'm coming. I'm coming. You should see this thing on poor ground, by the way. It's like, oh my god. Terrible. 20% off a T-34 with this kind of rate of fire. It's redonkulous and a little on fire. This thing, once it gets into position, it's like free kills is basically what it is. I'm not gonna be able to hit him. He's behind a hill, so... Oh, I did hit him. Nice. It's kind of got the standard fare of every other French tank. It's not very armored. It's got a really good gun. That's basically what it's got going for it. It's actually more armored than the Martyr 2, though, if that means anything at all. Ricocheted. I can't see him, so I don't know if I ricocheted or not. Let's move back this way. Let's get stuck on the Sturmpanzer, because we're both terribly slow. One of my FCM 360 P40 friends got killed by someone. I don't know why they gave it this name, the FCM 336 P40. I mean, there's probably some other name they could use for it, like Hotchkiss. Actually, no, I can't say that, because that's the Panzer 35H, some other random assortment of numbers as well. I guess I can't complain about that. Actually, let me rephrase that. I'm not really sure why anyone would spend gold on this thing, to be honest. It makes a good defensive platform, but I mean, if they're at your base and you're shooting them, you're probably one of the few left in a more than likely losing scenario, so... It's got, I believe it's got 30mm front armor. Let's see if we can help this guy out. That guy's behind a building, isn't he? Curses. Can't hit him either. Is he behind a rock? He must be behind one of the rocks over there or something. And I'm not going to be able to reposition within the next decade to get to a spot to shoot him. Is he going to move out? He is. Never mind. I was actually curious of getting an entire 15-man like tank company of these things and just seeing how well it does. one of the junior tank companies or whatever. This is tier 3, same tier as the Martyr 2. So. Well, I bounced something and then I exploded. That was a marvelous chain of events there. I did bounce something though. Let's watch this KV-1 here if I can get to him. There's still no select which tank. He has the 122, it looks like. Yeah. So he doesn't have the good gun on it. The same thing, the same problem with the Martyr 2. You get hit by anything, you explode, because it has no hit points. How much? 40mm front armor, actually. 40mm rear armor? French, why do you design your tanks like that? I don't understand. Whatever. This tank is known as the Martyr 1. Is it really? Is this like the French Martyr 1? I don't know. Let's hop back into this thing, and then that'll be the end of my recorded set of this. I may as well go ahead and continue this for those on the stream. Since they're here on the stream, I may as well give them the privilege of having fun and entertainment for days to come. Or minutes to come, depending on how long I go. I guess the heavy rear armor kind of would be used for retreating, but you're really not supposed to retreat that way anyway, but whatever. There's actually an account of a Jagdtiger being killed by, I can't remember what tanks it was, but it was it's some like small tank that the Jagdtiger really had no issue with if it was facing them, and the tank commander freaked out and turned the tank around to back down the hill he was on instead of just reversing, and he got hit in the back and the tank exploderized and stuff. Okay, so apparently that French tank destroyer, premium tank destroyer, according to Monicio here, is made by the Germans on a French tank chassis as an intermediate design with the lack of tank destroyers. Makes sense to me, so this is the French tier 4 premium artillery. The only premium artillery in the game at this point in time. Let's see if actually I can shoot across this whole map. Close. I can't shoot over there, which is actually kind of disappointing, but whatever. Me and my freaking zero sensitivity in SPG mode, or sniper mode, or top-down mode, whatever mode this is called. Not sniper mode. I have zero sensitivity, so I can make minute adjustments like this and make them smooth. With artillery, this is really the only thing I know about artillery. I suck at everything else revolving around artillery. Is when you move smoothly like this, you can see that the aiming reticule really doesn't change, but when you make jerky movements like that, you can see it pops open noticeably larger. So I lowered the sensitivity all the way down, and so I can kind of do that, and you can see it not really change a whole lot. And it appears they're going this way, which I can't shoot over there because I chose to sit back here. Which is moderately disappointing. This thing, for an artillery, it's got about the maneuverability of like the S-51 or something like that. It's not crazy, it doesn't have obscene traverse rate, but it can maneuver around. It can get from point to point, eventually. It's not very good at hills, but you people in your trackballs. You people in your trackballs. I used to have a trackball, but I actually now have my G400 that I won from Wargaming's Black Tom event, which was fun times. I was like 2 points away from first place, which made me disappointed. Let me actually, you can do things like this. Instead of using soft cover with this thing, you can use hard cover. Sit right here, and then I can, for instance, take pot shots over here if there were people here. I still can't shoot the people in the south. And, you know, I'm not going to be able to get shot by direct fire. Indirect fire I could still be hit by. If I had a larger rock, like a mountain or something, you could still sit behind it, and you can actually be protected from indirect fire from some artillery, like the German ones, for instance, that have basically zero arc in their shots, which is disappointing, but... And we're going to get killed by a shot for no apparent reason there. We're going to get killed by an IS-3. Although he can't see me because I have this rock in front of me. And the advantage of hard cover over soft cover is you don't lose the camouflage after you fire. Although I just shot the rock in front of me, which was good. Always good to do that. Always good. Hit him. Hit something. Nope, he moved. Once they get too close, though, obviously you're not going to be able to shoot over the rock at them, so you can't have that lovely effect forever. Did he get tracked? I believe he did. Oh, come on. Once again, this thing has 0 splash, so can I kind of ninja it over like that? There we go. It's either direct hit or you get nothing out of it, is what it is. And I'm just gonna, like, toy with this guy over this rock here. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you, IS-3. Oh, I hit the rock again. Oh, there's a T-50. Oh, dear. I'm surprised their artillery hasn't shot me. I'm surprised that T-50 hasn't shot me. There he goes.
Everyone get out.
Oh, I got hit. Oh, I got hit by the artillery. Never mind. It's about time. So that was a poor demonstration of that, but that's what you get with this kind of setup, where everyone just kind of let them drive through the middle there. I'm gonna go ahead and end this recording for that. I hope that was informative to those of you who wanted to have some sort of view of the upcoming